Hello and welcome. Halloween is just around the corner, and I wanted to share a few of my decks that have a Halloween vibe. I actually meant to do this last week, but I ended up getting sick, and I'm still getting over it actually. And I'm also in the middle of packing. But I will be creating more tarot videos next month after I get settled. But right now things are just a little crazy pants. So I'll just do the best I can over the next week or so to get a couple more videos out there. Anyway, when I decided to make this video, I really thought I had more decks with the Halloween feel than I actually do. I no longer have like the Bohemian Gothic Tarot, the Vampire Tarot by Natalie Hers, or the Halloween Tarot, which I think I gave away. I do purge my decks every few years or so to make room for new decks, but I still have a few decks left that I can put in the Halloween category, and a few of these I did mention in my video about decks with an autumn vibe, but I have to mention them here as well just because they also have a Halloween feel. And the other thing is that if you did watch that video about my autumn decks, I will be adding timestamps below if you just wish to skip ahead to certain decks. That video ended up being pretty long, and I kind of don't want this one to be as long. So let's just get into it. Okay, so first on the list is the Hocus Pocus Tarot. I mean, you can't really get more Halloween than that, right? A friend of mine gifted me with this deck last year in honor of our Hocus Pocus double feature night. We're both a big fan of the original movie, and the second movie had come out, so we decided to watch both of them in one night, which was a lot of fun, and he decided it would be fun to give me this deck, which I absolutely love. And basically with this deck you have all of the characters from the first film, Hocus Pocus. And let me get this out of the way. So I love that Winifred is the magician. This is just the cutest deck ever. I think they did a really good job putting the characters together associated with tarot. I think it's just a fun deck. I think this one is a seasonal deck for me. I haven't even used it this year, but I will be. But I did use it last year on Halloween. So it hasn't gotten a lot of use, but the cardstock feels really good. It shuffles really well. It's this really nice silk matte. And if you've watched any of my other videos, I love that feeling. I love a silky matte feel, and the cardstock is nice, and it has a nice flexible feel to it. It's so cute. The other thing is that when you look at, if you don't have this deck and are thinking about getting it, the aces are, all of the suits have different names, and the candles represent fire. And then you have the, let's see. Look, that's so cute. Max's mom. That's adorable. Potions represent water. 3 of potions. Dead man's toes. And then we have lightning as air, and let's see, pumpkins as earth. And you can get, this is a mass market deck, so you can get this on Amazon, and it should get to you pretty fast if you decide you want to have it by Halloween. So cute. All right, that is the Hocus Pocus Tarot. Next, we have the Shadowland Tarot by Monica, I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Monica Bodersky? Anyway, I'm not sure. I might be saying it wrong. I mentioned this one in the decks with an autumn vibe, but it also has a Halloween vibe too, I think. It was really hard to choose which video, so I decided to feature it in both. And also, I absolutely love this deck. I use it year round, and it just has, I love the way this deck feels. And if you watched my autumn deck video, you know that I absolutely love the book that goes with this deck. It's just fantastic. She did an amazing job. It's also this glossy color. It's colored all the way through, and it has a lot of amazing information in it. So I absolutely love this book. And the deck is, I think this deck is so special. I love her artwork. I love the colors of this deck. And this is another mass market deck, so you can get this on Amazon. Isn't this the cutest? So yeah, as you can see, there's, you know, Halloween. It's got bats. I mean, look at the back. It's so cute. And I am a fan of, you know, ink and watercolor, so this deck checks my boxes. I love this hangman. This is one of my favorite tower cards too. So cute. The aces are just the best in this deck. I love bats, so anything with bats in it makes me happy. And you've got spiders, skeleton. I love this one. Four of Swords. This is a lot of fun. The creature from the Black Lagoon. So this deck makes me laugh. Okay, that is the Shadowland Tarot. And then, of course, I have to include the Shadowland Lenormand deck. It has the same backs as the Shadowland Tarot, same gilded... Well, actually, I think the gilding is a little bit different. I could be wrong about that, but I think it's a little bit different. Not as shiny or something. But this is just such a fun Lenormand deck, and it's a great companion for the Shadowland Tarot, or if you just like to use Lenormand on its own, which is what I typically do. This is a great little Halloween deck. Look at that. So cute. She really did a good job with this. A lot of imagination went into this deck. And again, I really love this sketchy watercolor artwork. Her clouds, so adorable. So yeah, that is the Shadowland Lenormand deck. Okay, next up is Tarot of the Dead by Monica Knighton. I actually forgot I had this one. I love this deck. I just think it's so... You know what? I love all my decks. Let's just get it out there. I love all my decks. If I still have them, I love them. But I really love the... I think this is watercolor. I'm not really sure. I haven't read about her art, but it does look like it's watercolor and ink as well. But I like the pastel colors, even though it's the Tarot of the Dead. Like, you kind of just don't expect that. And I love the backs of the deck. I think they're so cute. The colors and everything. But I really like this deck a lot, and I thought it was out of print. I mean, for a while, I've had this deck for a long time, and I went to purchase it for my daughter, and it was out of print, and it was up there in price. But recently, I did see this one on Amazon, and I hope it's legit. So I will leave links below, and I'm hoping that they are. All my links are legit. I don't like to, I don't encourage bootleg decks or counterfeit decks. I think that is the equivalent of stealing, and it is a crime, and it really bothers me. So I will leave a link below, and hopefully, you know, it will be legit. I will, if I'm not sure, I won't leave it. How about that? Anyway, this deck is just the cutest. The Empress. It's the major arcana in this deck that really, look at this Chariot, that really does it for me. Justice, the gun, it kills me. Justice is at 8. Strength, he's swallowing fire. Oh, the Hangman, like I said, I forgot I had this deck. I haven't looked at it in a while. He doesn't have, his head isn't attached. Why do I think that's so funny? The Devil. And Death. Okay, so, well, they're not in order. They're not in order, but, I barely remember this one, but it just feels out of place for me. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Anyway, Temperance. I love the angels. The Moon, the little skeleton dogs. So cute. So the pips, and this is a pippish deck. It's a very pippish deck. The pens represent fire, and the coffins, but they're cute. See, I mean, well, these are the face cards, but the rest of them are very pippish. And then the coffins represent water. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to see with those. But I like the court cards. Like, I like the knights. And I like that they're reversible. Kind of like playing cards. Yeah, I think that's cool. King of Coffins. And then the pistols represent the element of air. I love this. I love this one. And then you've got the Page of Pistols, again, reversible. But they're different. Like, they're holding different things. I think it's cool. I really like the court cards in this deck. The court cards in the majors really do it for me. And I don't mind that it's a pip deck. And then you have reels that represent the element of earth. Now, the reels confused me to begin with, but they're associated with, like, movies, and the archetypes of movies, and associated with, like, scary or horror movies. From what I understand, that's the gist of it. I just want to get to the court cards here. Yeah, see, he's got a paper hat on and he's got a baseball cap on. It's so cute. Okay, that is Tarot of the Dead. Next, we have the Zombie Tarot. I actually use this one year-round. I was actually just using it yesterday, so it's probably all out of order. But I think the Zombie Tarot easily fits into the Halloween category. I love this deck so much. I actually got it just as a novelty deck, but I was really surprised at how well this deck reads. It has a lot of, move that out of the way. It has a lot of imagery from, you know, vintage 1930s, 40s, and 50s, like from newspapers and magazines. But this deck has a lot in it, I think. I think this is one of those decks that I don't do fast readings with. There's certain decks of mine, like the Klimt Tarot, and some of my more artist decks that I really just take my time with. And this is another one of those decks. I just like to look at it. I don't feel like this deck is a quick read, but maybe it is for other people, but it really isn't for me. I don't reach for this deck for a quick read. I think some people use it as a like a shadow deck, and I could see why. But it does help me think outside the box. It does give a different perspective. I think it is a lot more than just a novelty deck. I'd really like to know if anyone else watching this video, if you have this deck and if you work with it and what you think of it, and were you resistant to do readings with it, or did you think it just wasn't for you and it turned out that it was a better reader than you thought, or not? Like this is kind of gross. But for some reason, I must just have a weird brain because it makes me laugh. I mean, this cracks me up. This hermit. It's just funny. Okay, so that is the Zombie Tarot. Last on the mass market list is the Royal Mischief playing cards. I think this deck has a bit of a like a spooky vibe to it, and I really love this deck. I've been infatuated with transformation style playing cards for years. And basically, if you don't know what that is, it's when the artist incorporates the pip symbols of the non-face cards into the design. And yeah, I think they might have them from as early as the 1800s. I also like how some of the cards are this way and like normal, and then some of them you view them on the side. It's such a cute deck. But see, I mean, some of it has like a Halloween, like this one, a Halloween vibe. Or a spooky vibe, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I just love this. I love when they make the symbols part of the artwork. I just think that's the coolest. This is how I felt yesterday, for sure. That was me. Gross. It's kind of creepy, but I love it. And I think if you like to read with playing cards, this is a fun one. And this is another one that you can get on Amazon. Let's look at some of the other suits. It's just gruesome, right? Like, I love this. Like, this is the ace. Ace of spades. Oodles of doodles. Three of spades, I guess, would be the equivalent of the Three of Swords. It really depends on what book you read, on how they place the, you know, the suits, what they associate them with. But in my mind, and the way that I do it, this would be the Three of Swords. And she's pulling whatever little hair she has left. And she looks like she's snickering. That's just wrong. I just have this horrible problem laughing at the wrong things, which is why this artwork works for me. I love the spades. The spades are the noses of the dogs. That's just so ingenious and creative. But see, very Halloween-y. I love his artwork. And the diamonds, I think I associate them with the element of earth. But again, I have several different books regarding reading with playing cards, and every one of them has a different opinion on where they place the suits as far as the, you know, 4 elements. Gross. Okay, so that is the Royal Mischief playing cards. Transformation playing cards. Oh, I can't get my words out. The first deck on my indie list is a little bit unfair because it's out of print. However, it is still attainable. You can still find this deck on eBay. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Abe's Books. So it's out there, and it's not horribly like hiked up either. I think this deck is underrated. I feel like it's always been underrated, and I'll get to why in a minute. But this is the first edition published by St. Martin Press. I'm not even sure if there was any other editions after that. I don't think there were. But this deck actually pulls from Bram Stoker's novel Dracula and other vampire myths, and I have literally been itching to round the corners of this deck, but I haven't. I'm still thinking about it, but I've been thinking about it for years, so it may not ever happen. It may be that with this deck, I just leave it straight edge, which isn't my, like, it's not usually my preference, but maybe for this deck, it's, you know, it's just going to stay as it is. I'm not afraid to modify my decks, but for some reason, when it comes to this one, I just have not wanted to do that. Anyway, this is a deck that I mostly use seasonally for the months of October and November, but mostly October. And so I had to put this one back in order to do this video. One of the amazing things about this deck, and there's a lot of amazing things about it, is this book. This book, I have several books by Robert Place, and he is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to tarot, psychology, symbolism, the history of tarot, and he put a lot in this deck. This isn't just a novelty deck, in my opinion. What he did is he basically, well, here we go. The history of philosophy, the history and philosophy of tarot. So he put things like that. He didn't just focus on, you know, that this is a vampire deck, but he also talked about the psychology of it. So you have, when you look at the contents, you have the history and philosophy of tarot, the vampire in legend and art, the vampire trumps, the minor suits. But again, that doesn't even tell you like how much he puts in his books, and he always does. I mean, he writes just these meaty books, and I love them. Like I said, I have several, and I have a lot of respect and admiration for this man. So yeah, so the book to me is well worth it. And I mean, I even consider this not just a book that I want to read for this deck. I really love the information that he put into it. The deck itself, again, a lot of characters from his novel, from the novel Dracula. We've got Jonathan as the Fool, which just cracks me up, but it also makes sense. And the Magician is Count Dracula. We have Mina as the High Priestess, and then the Brides as the Empress. I love that, like in place of the Empress. But I love this. And actually, I think the Bohemian Gothic Tarot is just stunning. But for some reason, I gravitated more towards this one, and I ended up selling that one. And then we have the Count as the Emperor. Van Helsing. I just love this deck. And not all of the characters are from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Renfield. And this looks like the Renfield from the classic Bela Lugosi Dracula. It's just a wonderful deck. I love this moon card. It's one of my favorites. So beautiful. The sun. Look, see? He's burning up from the sun. Judgment. So good. And then this looks like the more of the like something from his alchemical, like tarot and everything. Anyway, with this deck you have the stakes represent the element of fire. The Knight of Stakes is Edgar Allan Poe. Charlotte Stoker. Look at that. It's just wonderful. I really like his artwork. Like the nine of I was going to say 9 of Wands. The 9 of Stakes. It just is so funny to me. 10 of Stakes. You've got the coffin and Dracula in his coffin. And then for the water element, you have Holy Water. Carmilla, one of my favorite books, and it actually predates Bram Stoker's Dracula. In fact, that Bram Stoker's Dracula may have been inspired by the book Carmilla. That book scared the bejesus out of me. And it's really short. And then we've got Pamela Coleman Smith as the Queen of Holy Waters. I love that holy water is the water. It's so cute. And then we have knives in place of swords for the element of air. The nightmare of life and death. And I love his comparisons where and look at Lord Byron as King of Knives. That's funny. The colors are so beautiful. They just pop in this deck. And it's really glossy. So again, I'd really love to see this deck in a matte cardstock. It's not hard to shuffle though. I mean, it's kind of sticky, but as far as like you can shuffle it, it's flexible. The cardstock is. And then instead of pentacles or coins, we have garlic flowers for the element of earth. Bram Stoker is the king of garlic flowers. The Ace of Garlic Flowers. His deck is, or his artwork is, it has always to me sort of a minimalist feel to it, but very symbolic. I love with the garlic flowers how you see Dracula like trying to get away from it. It's just funny. 6 of garlic flowers. Okay, that is the Vampire Tarot by Robert M. Place. Tarot of the Unknown from Quarter Press is one of my favorite autumn decks, but it also has a Halloween feel to it as well. I mean, look. And plus the animated series Over the Garden Wall, which is, you have the characters from that series. It literally has a Halloween party and they're dressed up for it. A lot of the characters are dressed up for the Halloween party. So you definitely put this one in the category of Halloween decks. And if you haven't watched Over the Garden Wall, this is a great time to watch it. It's just a wonderful series and it's pretty quick. I mean, the episodes are really short. Anti-whispers. I love this. I think you really, I mean, you can read this deck on its own, but I think to really appreciate it, you should probably watch the series. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or if it's on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu right now. Look at this. Yeah, see, pretty Halloween, but also very autumn. The series is very autumn. It's just the cutest deck. I really enjoy this deck. And this is another one that I just use seasonally. There's only a few like that for me, but this is one of them. I had to put this one in order as well. See, Halloween costumes. 3 of Axes. I love how the cups are party cups, those red plastic party cups. It's so funny. Yeah, it was hard to decide, is this a Halloween deck? Is it an autumn deck? And it's just both. It's both. And in all fairness, Halloween is in autumn, so sometimes... Some of my decks don't seem Halloween, though, at all. And I have a lot more of those. And this one can go either way, or in this case, both. So cute. Okay, that is Tarot of the Unknown. Next is the Dark Mansions Tarot. I was on the fence about including this one, but... there's a lot of imagery that sort of feels Halloween to me. I guess because it has this, it has a whimsical feel, but it also has a gothic feel. Some of the cards feel very gothic and Nightmare Before Christmas. And then also when you look, there's like skeletons, you know, in the... on the borders. I love this deck. There's just so much in this deck. Only thing is this rose petal finish. It feels lovely, but like, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm struggling, you know, kind of separating the cards. And you can ripple shovel it. The cardstock is amazing and it bounces back no problem. But then when you know, you shuffle it and then you try to like bridge it, it doesn't really work very well. But look at that. Like, see, that looks like, kind of reminds me of Eddie Munster right there. The death card. So again, I think this one has, you know, a Halloween vibe to it. And I mean, look at that devil. I love this card. Oh, I like dark cards like this. But it's not, you know, so dark. It's like dark and whimsical. Look at this star card. She's so beautiful. The moon. And I really love the backs. Just, so 3D. I love it. Like, look at Judgment. This is one of my favorite Judgment cards. And this is one that I use year round. I love the colors. I mean, like, look at this Ace of Wands. The colors just pop. And it just screams fire. I love the Victorian imagery. I like how the Page of Wands has a page boy haircut. Cute. It's just wonderful. I love this Queen of Cups. It does remind me of the artwork from this reminds me of the Corpse Bride. Okay, and that is the Dark Mansions Tarot. I mentioned the Myths and Legend Tarot in my decks with an autumn vibe video because it does have an autumn vibe to it, but it also is, the illustrations are a little bit dark. They're a little bit on the dark side. They pull from myths and legends, folklore from like around the world. Like, you've got a werewolf. This cardstock, like I said, it feels so good. And look at the gilding on this deck. So pretty. And it's held up pretty well because I love using this deck. The Emperor is the Headless Horseman. This artwork is so beautiful. The Lovers. Ugh. The Chariot is a Viking. Looks like a Viking boat. Wheel of Fortune, looks like they're doing a seance. A lot of thought went into this deck. The Succubus, that looks like Lilith. That's what it reminds me of. The Moon. This is a wonderful deck. Mothman. Ace of Wands is a besom or broom. Wonderful. I really enjoy this deck. Look at that. So yeah, I mean, you do have a Halloween feel, but look at the sketches. Just, this deck. It's really a beautiful deck. I love bats. Sometimes, even when I work with decks and I do a YouTube video, it almost feels like I'm looking at them for the first time, like in a different way. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what it feels like. Look at this Knight of Cups. I love this. This creature, Queen of Cups. Okay, that is the Myths and Legend Tarot. And yeah, I really like this deck a lot. Okay, another deck by Quarter Press, the creator of Tarot of the Unknown, is the Fantasma Oracle. This is the cutest little thing. The cards have this like spooky vintage vibe. There's a little booklet that goes with it. But look at this. I love this little oracle deck. It's just so cute. It reminds me of Merry Melodies, like those old cartoons. Like we've got the scarecrow and the bat. Look at this cat. Looks like a Halloween cat. Look at that. The creeper. Can O poison. Death. I love this. The devil. The cardstock feels really good. And it's got this like vintage look to it. It's just the cutest. The sword. The cycle. The end. The wizard. The clown. Clowns are scary. Distress. The tree. We've got a spooky tree. The whistle. Again, it has that old vintagey cartoon thing going on. The adventurer sort of reminds me of the fool. Is this the hangman or yeah, the hangman. This is the cutest. The flip. And like it looks like a pentacle. Cute. The wand. These cartoon hands. The star. Balance. Yeah. So I think this can fit in the, you know, not all of the images are spooky, but look, you have the Hermit. But there's a lot of vintage spooky cards in this deck, and I think it could be put in that category. I might be, you know, reaching a little bit here, but I think it works. Okay, that is the Fantasma Oracle. The last deck on my list is an honorable mention. I am including the Tarot Noir because of its dark gothic feel. I am in love with Matthew Hackier's artwork, even though I can't properly pronounce his name. And it is absolutely one of my favorite Marseille style decks. The book is in French, so I have like used one of those you know, translation apps, but the deck is falling apart. So, I mean, it was falling apart immediately. A lot of people complained about the binding. I'm actually thinking about getting another copy of this deck and then framing the major arcana of this book. I mean, I think that would be so cool, right? I mean, because the artwork is just absolutely stunning. And so that's what I've had that in my head for a while. Maybe I will do that after I get moved. But this deck is just, you know, maybe not technically a Halloween deck, but some of the imagery just is, it's got kind of that dark, gothic, spooky vibe to it. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Tim Burton's artwork, some of his earlier stuff, but he definitely, I mean, this is definitely his, as far as Matthew's work, this is definitely his style. I've seen other imagery that he has on his Facebook, not Facebook, I'm sorry, on his website, and I just love it. Like, see these little guys, these little, they look like little minions of the Hierophant. The Chariot. This is such a pretty deck. I mean, it really is. And you see their little, they look a little bit weird, right? I love it. I love this kind of artwork, though. And look at this Wheel of Fortune. This, like, this death looks so, and even the arms reaching out look so apocalyptic, right? Looks like, looks like he went through a war. This Devil card. Most creepy. Even the sun in this, the sun is scowling. Why do I think that's funny? So, God, this is a beautiful deck. Even the, like, I really, this is, obviously, it's a Marseille deck, so it's a pip deck, but it is just so beautiful. The aces are just wonderful. Look at this Ace of Coins. I don't read with this deck. I just like to look at it. I do read with Marseille decks, just not this one. I think it's just so, so pretty that I don't want to read with it. I didn't get it for that, so it's fine. I mean, I would consider this just a collector's deck. But look at just, I mean, this deck is so elegant. I mean, it's a little dark and gothy, but it's just so elegant. Anyway, that is La Tarot Noir. And that is the last of my decks with the Halloween vibe. Thank you for joining me if you made it this long. If you have decks that you like to use this time of year, please let me know in the comments below. I love to hear about new decks. I'm really interested to hear about decks that people use seasonally. Are there decks that you just use a certain time of year? Anyway, thanks again, and I really wish I had gotten this video out sooner, but I just, you know what, I wasn't feeling up to it. So, yeah. Thank you. Bye.